And then in 2012, with my friends Dan and Jason and me, we bought a piece of land, sold my flat, sold my car, sold one of my children, and built and got planning consent for this building. In fact, I was going to live there, and Dan was going to live there, but then Dan fell out with Jason, so I had to move into the middle. So now I live there. And they're friends now, of course. But Dan won't move out, so I can't move anyway. But that's it. So, so we got this planning consent. We ran out of money. Went to the building contractor, and Dan and Jason were going like ballistic, you know. Anyway, because we didn't have anywhere to live. So we ran out of money, and so I went to the builder, let the contract, got the builder in the room, and said to the builder, "Right, the job's yours, but I haven't got any money to pay you to do the job." And so the contractor got up and walked out. And then I chased him and I said, "Look, what you need to do is lend me the money to build the building, and then when you finish the building, I'll get a mortgage and I'll pay you back." And he still said no. So we sold this floor here, and then we found somebody to buy this floor here, and the person who bought that was a photographer and wanted to put a photographic studio in there. And he said, "Well, for the camera that I use, I need a space that's 6.5 meters high, 9.5 meters wide, and 23 meters long, of completely open space, no columns, no beams." So the honeycomb kind of structural idea that we had before of everything kind of tightened together was completely blown out of the water by that brief. So what we began to look at to understand was what this kind of material could do. Now, because of the way that the cross laminates work, like that in the panels, a wall is also a beam. So a wall, it acts like a deep beam. It can carry the load down and then along and down again. So we use the party walls between each one of the apartments here. We use those as deep beams, suspended the floors of those deep beams, and then attached these beams to the front and the rear facade, which act as giant trusses. So the whole building is incredibly light, but incredibly strong, and really bonded tightly together. Does that make sense? Yeah, okay. We use about 30% less timber on this building per square meter than we did on Murray Grove, and have this big open plan studio in the middle. So that's the building there with, without any clothes on, and so you can see this is just the structure here. So that's my house, my flat, just there. It's my sitting room up there. So this is the photographic studio, and you can see the other thing we did before. We were kind of like, had these big panels and we were cutting windows out of them, cutting doors out of them. But what we did here was because I was paying for this, so it's different. And, so what we did was to rip down the panels and use the panels in the primary direction. You see, if you've got an odd number of laminates, then the one that's on the top and the one that's on the bottom going the same direction, and that's where the primary strength of that panel is. So you can see where the outside is going like that, then we're using them as columns, and where it's going like that, we're using them as beams or as lintels between the columns. So you can see just here, like that. And that's it in the summer, your summer.